Okay, welcome to the program. September the 27th, you're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Lester's Oil. Welcome along. It's your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement backed by thousands of satisfied customers. 6 supplements in one capsule. Supports joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. Good evening, everybody. I'm Duncan, Garner. Welcome to the program. The state of the All Blacks. It's been a rocky ride this year, hasn't it? And you have to wonder, are we any better off after a year of Ian Foster's gone and less than a year into Razor's reign? Tonight, we look at the All Blacks, the huge expectations we have of them, and we ask, is it time to pick overseas players, and how come we appear to have gone backwards so quickly? Martin Devlin, sports broadcaster, has decades of experience. He's watched the decline. He's also been there for the upside as well, the time that we were unbeatable. So I'll get his take on all this very shortly. But firstly, my take, and it's softened a bit actually, to be honest. Firstly, give Razor some time. He's got less to work with than Foster had. He's got all these young players, and he really is rebuilding and trying things. With the Crusaders, he had established superstars, so this will test him. The coaching squad is new, and that will take time too. I just wonder if there are too many voices in that squad. We never give them time. We have these huge expectations, and after all, it's the All Blacks, and they must win. They must win every time. We also must be a bit more patient. Is building a team something we need to be better at? And as a sporting public, maybe give them a bit more time on this. Also, our super competition is average, and you can see why South Africa has left and gone north. Argentina, you've got to say, have made huge strides in world rugby, and they're no longer the easy beats. In fact, they're top 3 or 4 or 5, aren't they? In my view, consistently now. So the Bledisloe is safe. Damien McKenzie is dropped. Bodie's at first 5. Unlock the game. We want 80 minutes, not 40 or 60. We want 80. Come on, we can do it. We want a full effort. Martin Devlin, I spoke to just a bit earlier on today. Martin, All Blacks heading into the second test, I suppose, against Australia. So that the Bledisloe Cup is safe. But boy, these All Blacks are almost playing for pride. We're playing for pride, and we're playing for some sort of respect, I suppose, because we can't win the championship. We're playing for pride. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I don't buy into any of that kind of guff when it comes to the All Blacks. Every single test match that we play, as far as the All Blacks are concerned, stands alone, I believe. And I'm a great believer also in isolate, separate. So what I want to see from the All Blacks is I want to see a cohesive, committed, full 80-minute performance. Because, Duncan, we've played 8 tests this year. And look, we've been fantastic in bits of various tests. Take the last 4, for example. First half against Argentina at Eden Park, All Blacks were brilliant. 62 minutes in Joburg, All Blacks were damn good. First 15 minutes in Sydney, the All Blacks were absolutely brilliant. There wouldn't have been a team in the world that could have stayed with us. But what we haven't been able to do is convert all of those moments into 80 minutes. And that's what I want to see this weekend. I don't care whether we've got the Bledisloe Cup in the bank. I don't care what we've done in the previous 8 tests. I, like all the other All Black fans, not only New Zealand, but the rest of the world, just want to see a really good 80-minute performance from our team.
Yeah, the problem is in the last few tests we've had 60 minutes and we haven't been able to score in the last 3 test matches 1 point in the final 20 minutes. It's unheard of in an All Black team. Previous All Black teams from decades ago, decades of generations of these guys, have put their hammer down in the last 15, 20 minutes, and that's where we've won games. This is the exact opposite. It's a real concern. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, look, and it goes back further. I think it's 6 of 8 tests that's happened this year. And you know, the time for excuse making is over, because as All Blacks, we don't make excuses. No. This coaching group have now had 8 tests. When you run through, and look, you know, I've got the team in front of me here, and the reserve bench, obviously, for this test match. Anyone that's played over 20 tests, to me, that's enough experience. So guys like De Groot, 27, Tupu Vai, 33, Sevu, 29, Will Jordan, 36. The only one with virtually no experience in that first 15 lineup is Satiti. He's got 4. Then on the bench, we've got Tossi. He's played 2 or 3. Dari, 5 or 6 tests. Ratima, 7 or 8 tests. Everyone else has played over 10 tests. Amua, 13 or 14. Tamaiti, 13 or 14. Everyone else has played in the 20s, the 30s, the 50s. Some of them have played 70. Bowden Barrett, good Lord, has played 130-something tests. So there's plenty of experience there. In the last 20 minutes, Duncan, also in the last few test matches where we've unravelled in that last 20 minutes, we've had Scott Barrett, Ardie, Sam Cane on the field. 3 All Black captains. Yeah. So there's no excuse for this, and it's a real concern, obviously, for the team and for the coaches. Damien McKenzie not at 10 anymore. And look, you know, again, you know, I'm really reluctant ever to kind of pick on All Black players, because I know that they go out there representing our country, and no one goes out there to have a bad game. Damien, I think, has mirrored what has happened with our team this year. At times, he's been exceptional, and he's been the guy that plays Super Rugby at a pace, at a level, with an ingenuity that very few people do. But that's not test match rugby. And what we need to see from our first 5 is a guy that can control the game in the last 20 minutes. He hasn't been able to do that, which is why clearly they brought Beauden Barrett back in.
So they're going to say Beauden's going to play a full game. So Beauden will play 80 minutes at that first 5, because if they don't think that McKenzie can do it, he's hardly going to do the last 20. I think this is a real confidence, a dent in confidence for McKenzie, because you've got to manage these guys, their egos, right, and their skill set and their confidence. And McKenzie's played the full year and been dropped.
He has been dropped, no question. Hey, but, bib, as far as the confidence goes, this is professional sport, mate. I don't buy into that either. Damien McKenzie has played, let me look at this, over 50 tests for the All Blacks. He was around in 2017 is when he made his debut. That's 8 years ago. And look, there's another list I've got here, mate. 2017, we beat the Springboks 57-0. Beauden Barrett, Rico, McKenzie, Sam Cane, TJ, Ardy, Scott Barrett, Cody Taylor, ALB. 9 guys were playing in that 23 that day.
Yeah.
Look, I look at it like this. If you've played 7 or 8 years for the All Blacks, this is as good as you're going to get. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden develop a brand new skill set or get demonstrably
So why can't they hold down? Why can't they hold down positions in the team? ALB's played 70-odd test matches. He's not a first-choice player.
No, he's not. And he never has been a first-choice player. And I think it comes back to the reality, which is this All Black side as a collective isn't a great All Black side. And I measure that, like everyone measures it, purely in results. We've lost 15, 16 test matches, something like that in the last 5 years. That's an average
unheard of.
That's unacceptable for the All Blacks. It's something that nobody wants to talk about. It's a different generation too. I talk regularly to people like Justin Marshall, Murray Mexton, and have them as guests on the show.
Yes.
Back in those guys' days when they played, the All Blacks refused to lose any test. You remember Sean Fitzpatrick once famously said his biggest motivator was not losing, the fear of losing.
Yeah.
These guys don't have that. It's a different generation of players. Good God, and I've said this before to you. We lost a test series to Ireland. First time ever we've lost to them at home, lost a test series. They were all handed Topaz $10,000 watches as a reward. So, and they go to their Instagram following and there's another 10,000 likes on a post. Look, it's not the same as when we grew up. But I don't think it's better because of it. I think that the All Blacks have to have this standard where losing a match a year it shouldn't happen. Losing 2 matches a year, that's a disaster. Losing 3 matches a year, what the hell is going on here, boys? Come on.
Well,
that's the standard we have to aspire to if we want to be the best in the world again.
I used to consider losing 1 match a year, that ruined the season. So they'd go away for the Grand Slam and they'd lose one and be like, pucker. They didn't quite finish the season. But
right.
But now it's accepted, and there seems to be this general acceptance. I think this is through life as well. Where's the accountability? Is that word being used in the All Blacks?
That comes back down to personal responsibility, I believe. No All Black goes out there to lose. Let's make that absolutely clear, because they don't. I mean, and I still hope that every All Black that goes out there, because we constantly get bombarded with these messages, don't we, that we're just caretakers of the jersey and all of that kind of bollocks. Well, if that's the case, then remember that 100-something years of excellence that goes before you. And those guys who didn't get paid millions of dollars to play, they went out there and they played and they didn't lose. And they didn't lose very often. So, the All Blacks have got still a massive mission at the end of this year. And that is away England, Ireland and France. And then Italy, of course. 4 huge test matches. Now, if we can come away from that without losing any of those, I think that's a giant step forward. And to me, it starts on Saturday against the Wallabies. Just play really well and play for 80 minutes and close the game out how we want you to close the game out. That's it. Every time the All Blacks get to play, Duncan, they've got another chance to raise the bar and be better. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for this weekend. And I'm sure the coaches are looking for that as well.
But what's the plan? So I see this. I see David Havili's in there replacing Harry Plummer. So Plummer gets 2 minutes off the bench in Sydney. And we come back to this weekend and we've got David Havili, who hasn't been seen in the All Blacks all year. He's obviously a favourite of Razor's. And now, is he back up at first 5? Well, then McKenzie.
Well, and I'd throw the name Hotham in there as well, and I'd throw Tossie in there as well. And, for some of these guys, they haven't played in months. That's the reality of it. Super Rugby finished for these guys back in May.
Yeah.
June, July, August, September. That's 4 months without a game. I don't get how you can become a better player when you don't actually play. To me, the idea of improving is you get on the field and play. Now, be that club rugby, be that NPC rugby, whatever it is, get out and play. We saw it way back in 2007 under Graham Henry, didn't we? The rest and rotation that our guys played in the gym all year, didn't actually play any rugby. And what happened at the World Cup? So I think that's absolute nonsense, man. These guys need to get boots on and actually play. As far as Harry Plummer's concerned, we saw the same with Stephen Petafeta a couple of years ago where Ian Foster brought him on for 30 seconds. I like Plummer. I think he'll probably start in Japan. He might get a game in Italy. Of course, injury, obviously, if he's still fully fit and everything. But I'd like to see him in that role of controlling the game in the last 20 minutes, because he did it. Yeah. He did it for the Blues, and he did it admirably all year.
They had a forward back going forward, and they were so dominant, and he was in the box seat. I wonder if he can control a game. He needs a chance. You got to give him a chance.
Yeah, why not?
What's Havili done? Who's Havili?
Well, look, he has been around that squad for a long time. He was at the World Cup last year. He's a really good utility player, but you make a good point that he just hasn't been playing any rugby. It's not a crisis for the All Blacks at the moment, and I don't want anyone to think that it is. But, again, it's just about maintaining a certain standard. And if you put together all the really good things we've done in games, then this is the frustration, because it's not like we've been playing badly. There's been absolute brilliance at times in some of these games, but it's just been this bit here, this bit here, this bit here, and we haven't been able to cohesively link it all together. The other thing is discipline. And if you go back and look statistically over the last 3 or 4 years, and this is something the All Blacks have got to clean up. We played, I think every single test match, we play at least 20 minutes with a man down. Sometimes we play 40 minutes with a man down.
Too common.
The last game, we had 2 guys off the field. And there are times where the ref pings you, of course, for the professional fouls. I can understand that. But what Caleb Clark did, what Lomax did with the arm in South Africa, those are just really dumb mistakes that these guys are at a level they shouldn't be making. And look, Caleb will hate himself for doing that on the weekend, of course. But these are the things where, in a test match, which is all about moments and all about momentum, can really turn a game. And in the end, we were hanging on for grim death against Australia in a game where we should have put 50 on them. And the reality of it is, people, is that if we'd scored one of those tries, Damien with the stupid pass, the forward pass, which was really unlucky, Adi Savera, a fingernail underneath that ball, one of those tries in the game was put to bed with 20 or 30 minutes to go. So I don't think we should be too harsh in our criticism, because these guys probably are more harsh than we are about themselves. I guarantee that.
Just quickly before we go, Sam Cane plays 100 games, 100 test matches, so he goes into exclusive club. I think there are 13 in that club, are there? How do we judge him? He's tough.
Skip.
He's tough.
I love this guy.
He's tough.
Yeah, and, he's one of those guys who, you think about timing in life, don't you? You follow on from Sir Richard, one of the greatest players that's ever played the game. At the time in 2015, when Sam Cane came into the All Blacks, I believe he was probably playing better than Richie McCaw.
I agree.
But Richie was Richie, and Richie was always going to be the captain. Then when Richie retires after winning back-to-back World Cups as captain, and then he goes and flies a helicopter and rescues people, and the guy Captain Aotearoa, and Sam Cane has to follow that. And of course, he's always been compared to that, which is really unfair. He's a different kind of player, but he's world class, and he's played 100 tests for us, and that's got to be acknowledged and celebrated, because, as you say, it's a really illustrious list of names, and it's a really select club. And this guy's gone through the biggest ups and downs anyone could in any sporting career. He broke his neck, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I know.
He was sent off in a World Cup final as the All Black captain. 56 minutes they played without him. And, you just imagine how he would retire and leave the game if he was the winning All Black captain last year in Paris. And instead, it came down to him in a David Beckham kind of moment from 1998, that Football World Cup.
Yeah.
I got a lot of time for this guy. Every time I've had any kind of dealings with him, I've been really impressed by him. You always got to look also at how the other players treat him and how they behave towards him and how they rate him. I think he thoroughly deserves 100 caps. And to me, he's still the best number 7 that we've got. I'd like to see Ardy play 7 as well, having said that, because, I'd actually like to see Ethan Blackadder at 6, Satiti at 8, and Ardy at 7 in that combination.
Yeah.
The other question I've got before we leave is, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dalton Papali'i.
Who?
Where's he gone?
Well,
Aaron,
I'm looking.
Where's he? Don't. I mean, he's just vanished off the face of the earth, hasn't it? And we don't seem to have an explanation for that. So, we've got great loose forwards at the moment, but as far as Sam Cane goes, thoroughly deserves his 100 cap, man.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Proctor. The centre.
Well,
where is he?
Again, and he, arguably perhaps should have got a game this weekend as well. But at the moment, we don't really seem to have a second 5. This is the confusing thing. Go back to 2019. And ALB was the second 5 and Goodhue was the centre. Then after that World Cup, we got told, we got it wrong, that he's the second 5 and he's the centre. And so now, now ALB comes into that position. It's a real shame Geordie Barrett's injured, because he's been magnificent, I think, all year, probably one of the standout All Blacks. But again, let's just go back to ground zero, man. A couple of things. We want our All Blacks to win. and we want them to play really, really well. And this is an opportunity with the pressure off because we've got that trophy. I'm not talking about going out there razzle-dazzle and all of this kind of fairy bollocks. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about getting in there and pounding and smashing and beating these guys into the earth.
Devlin, I'm out.
Handsome.
I'm out.
Go
Good
you
see
All
you,
Blacks.
mate. They're right. We love them. Ta, mate. Appreciate it. Well said.
Okay, dude. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marty. Awesome.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, yeah, Martin Devlin, thanks for your time, mate. Now, Isaac, who runs a control room, runs the whole thing without him. We don't go to here, mate. Hey, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Let us.
Let us who?
Let us out of here. It's Friday.
Ah, classic.
Work? Does that work?
Yep, that's
good.
good.
You got one for me?
Oh, don't put me
Not on the spot.
like that, mate. Oh, come on.
I did think about mine. All Blacks. So if we lose, your generation, you're 20, right? Does it matter? Yeah,
100%.
Okay,
I'm
good,
a massive All Blacks fan. Don't get me wrong. Don't put me in that position.
Okay, sorry, sir.
No, 100%. I'm looking forward to the game, especially because it's in New Zealand. It'll be good.
You watch all the All Black games?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. I mean, people say, what's the culture in New Zealand? What's the dominant culture? Well, it's still very, very based around rugby at times. I know half the country doesn't play it. All care about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't even think it's New Zealand's most played sport anymore.
It's not anymore.
It's
basketball.
football. I thought football overtook it.
Wow. Well, basketball in schools now. It may well be basketball.
Yeah. But then it's still interesting, how you see the entire country rally behind the rugby team every time.
Yeah, but when I've done talk back in the past, and I've talked about rugby, half the crowd, if they ring, they say, we hate it.
Oh.
Not everyone loves rugby. I mean, Helen Clark once said that she'd rather curl up next to a good book.
Yeah, I mean, and fair enough, people can enjoy that, but you can't...
What did she say?
You can't deny just like the pure, the real mana behind the All Blacks and representing the squad and being, watching it with your mates, whether you're at home, in a bar, or at the stadium, wherever you are.
You see, remember the old footage of the haka was done back in the day. They never did the haka at home. I think they might have done it on the road when they went away. Yeah. So Buck Shelford brought it back, I think, to do it at home. But the way they did it, even in the '87 World Cup final, so very upright and everything. Now it's just such a performance.
Yeah.
Like TJ, they're actors,
It's definitely a global thing now. Like, I've seen videos of American creators all reacting to the haka, and they think it's amazing. Because it is a very intimidating thing, Well,
we're used to it, but I've seen those guys. They run their own sites and everything, and they're going, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Look how scary he is. Look at Christian Cullen. I see that. I do enjoy that.
Yeah,
okay, thank you, Isaac, sir.
No worries.
Duncan Garner, live.
It is time to slam it.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Now, it's thought the current shake-up of the public service will, in the end, see about 7,500 jobs go. So there's another 1,000 in this first tranche, if you like. And you saw NIWA and the Met Service merging this week, and still jobs across the board are being lost. But after interviewing David Seymour, it's clear that he's keen for a second round of cuts that no one's yet really started to talk about. He says that $4 to $5 billion needs to be cut from the government's budget ahead of the next budget round, you see, so that's next year. And that will see a fresh round of job cuts as we head into Christmas and past the new year. Māori TV today, they've gone public about the huge funding drop. Dozens and dozens of jobs are to go there. The media's not really talking about this much yet. How deep will the next round of cuts go? But I spoke to David Seymour last night on the platform, and he gave us an opportunity to push him further on this. Have a listen.
We're going to have to find 3% savings, and that means something like $4 or $5 billion. We're already looking at that. How do we save $4 or $5 billion in order to balance the budget? And so we're going to keep on looking for savings. And my prediction is that when it's all said and done, people who said that ACT's alternative budget was far out will find out that actually it wasn't far off. So look, it's a work in progress, but I would say that while the government, the New Zealand First and National, they're probably never going to go as far as ACT would go. They're going a lot further than they would without us.
So while Nationals always said it wanted 6.5% cut right across the board, savings across the board, David Seymour said something much more ambitious given how big the public service got under Labour, who they lifted the public service cap, you see, so there was no limit to how many people that they could hire. Now, remember, Seymour always wanted 15,000 staff gone. He makes it really clear there are many, many more jobs to go, and slash and burn hasn't stopped yet. Have a listen.
When you look at the size of that core public service, so mostly public servants in Wellington, when Labor got in, they had 47,000. When they left, they had 62,000. And I don't meet many people who can tell me where that 15,000 person gain came in terms of the services they get. We've gone down 6,000 I think there's potential to go further. So it sounds like I'm dodging a question. It's because we're in a budget process, and until those decisions get made, I can't really be running out and getting in the way of everyone.
No, that's fine. But what's a ballpark figure? You've done 6,000. Would it be another 6 or would it be half that?
Oh, I doubt it would be another 6. It'll almost certainly be a further reduction. I think that's going to be necessary, but I'm a bit reluctant to give you a number because then everyone will say, "Oh, David gave you this number, and was he right or you wrong?" Look, please just give us a bit of time to figure out how to balance the budget. We are working on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear, isn't it? There's more jobs to go. The aim of the podcast that we do here, as much as it is to inform and entertain you and give you something to laugh at or laugh with, I'm also keen for you to learn something as well. And my aim is to break stuff, break stories, break news, and that you don't know about. So if I know something, then you will know it. So thank you to my sources in Timaru in the past 48 hours for telling me that hundreds and hundreds of jobs were to go there today, and the announcement's been made. So we told you this last night, and it's been announced today. You were right, which means I was right, which means everybody here knows something first. And when you know this stuff, pass it on. So thank you so much. 500 jobs lost in Timaru, which is huge for a small town, and with public service cuts to continue, we are not out of this economic mess yet, are we? I mean, we've dealt to inflation, great, it's come at a huge cost. Now the unemployment numbers, as they predicted, are set to rise and go higher and higher. And losing our job is never a good time, at least to some poor outcomes. I've been here. So remember, show empathy, folks, and help where and if you can. I'm sure that'll be much appreciated by people losing their jobs.
Duncan Garner, live.
Right, that's us. Isaac, nothing more to add from you, sir?
No, I think you've covered it brilliantly, mate.
It's our first week for the evenings, 5 days of evenings. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Yeah. Good. Tell your friends, tell them to come back. Without them, we did meet. Thank you for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live with Lester's Oil. Lester's Oil have partnered up with us. They make a difference. It means that we can come on air and do this sort of stuff. So if you can, back them, please support them. Lester's Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. Use the code Duncan for 10% off. abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. Do the right things. About Health Auckland. 0800 999 309. Now, with that number, if you call them right now, they've always got people on the phones there. Mention my name, 10% off, just like that. Bang. Don't say I don't do anything for you. That's us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly, and wherever you get your podcast, of course. There's a new website, there's a new app there. Rover looks good. Jump online. Thanks for your feedback and support. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Isaac. Do we still say Forrester? Or people were asking if he's been sacked. I don't know. He's got 2 jobs, hasn't he? This one and another one within the company. Forrester's very much been part of this. So I'll keep saying Forrester until I'm told not to say Forrester anymore. But he's your man. He's out there. This guy, yeah, Isaac. Okay, guys, thank you so much. We'll do it again on Monday. Big interview on Monday. I'll tell you a bit more about that a bit later on. But remember, life isn't a dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth, so get out, enjoy it, have a great evening, and also have a great rest of the weekend. Take care, folks.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.